Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson, and this is Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for Monday, the 12th of April, 2021. Well, I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a good week last week. One thing I wanted to mention, before tell you what the rune is, last week I did this just on a whim. I When I do the magical forecast for Monday through Friday, I don't do it on the weekends, but when I do it Monday through Friday, there's a section in there that's a rune divination, and it's just 3 runes, and I just do a short little divination on what it is, in case somebody wants to use something like that in magic or whatever. But I liked it, so I did like a quick 5 or 6 minute video for it. I don't remember what day last week I did that on. Maybe I don't know when it was, but anyway, it wasn't where I could tell you guys ahead of time I was going to do it, because I don't do that until after I do this. And so just look for those. I think I'm going to start doing that when I like the reading, if I think that it might be an interesting one to talk about, even if it's just a quick little video, I'm going to start doing that. I think I like talking about runes. I like talking about what they're comprised of. The visual part of it. I just like doing that. So that may be one additional video that I do, but they're going to be random. It's just whether or not I happen to really, connect with that particular rune divination. If I think it would be interesting for people, then I'm gonna do it. I've also been posting whatever I can over on the Instagram feed as well. The whole videos, they have to be less than 3.5 gig, I think, or something. No, whatever it is. Well, anyway, it has to be less than a certain amount, 3.5 something or other. And if it can get to that, then I'll put it there too. Otherwise, I can't put them up there. They won't take them. They're too long. So anyhow, yesterday's Esoteric Influences went up over there. I think one of the Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune videos went up over there last week as well. So just, if you like Instagram and you go there, you can, the link to it's below the video here. So anyway, where my page is. I started a new one, and because I couldn't remember the login for the old one. So I think it's like Jan Erickson 63 or 063 or something. I don't know what the heck it was, but anyway, I don't know. Anyhow, today's rune is lagus, or flow from spirit. If you're empathic and you take a moment to draw your energy back to you, you can visualize lagus, chant lagus softly or quietly or silently, and use it as a magical hook to draw your energy back to you after you dissolve the channels you've created with your thought patterns to other people and other situations. So anyway, let's see what our geomancy rune is for today to get us started out here with the reading. Wait. Okay. Oh. So is that albus? That's not rubius, is it? Let me see what that is. Could be acquisitio. Looks like acquisitio. No, it's not albus. I think it's acquisitio. Yeah, it is. Okay. So acquisitio, or gain. Now, gain can be financial. Usually we look to the Fortuna Major and Fortuna Minors for finances, but acquisitio can definitely be an acquisition of some kind. So you're going to acquire something today, so there's an increase of something. I mean, it could even mean something as mundane as, okay, I need to go buy a new set of dishes. Okay, that's an acquisitio, all right? So it doesn't have to be anything really outstanding or anything like that. Did I throw that rune back in there with those? You know what? I think I did. I put lagus back in the bowl with the rest of the geomancy runes. Well, anyway, it's Monday. I don't know what to do. We did not get our irrigation water last week. Apparently they had issues. So maybe we'll get it this week. I don't know. But it gets old, you wait. You actually, when you have irrigation rights, at least in Oregon, they don't guarantee you any water at all. It's just the right to have it. And we have 4.6 acres of irrigation rights. So we have 5 acre parcel, and so so most of it could be irrigated with irrigation water, and we do. Even the gardens, we have we put a lot of hugel beds in, and the nice part about that is the underside of it, the under part of it, is logs and sticks and things like that. And so the idea is that when you put them in, if you can dig down and put that stuff in the ground, in like a little, just a little, and you don't have to go down too far, maybe 6 inches, 8 inches, something like that. My husband tries to go down about a foot. And then you can fill that whole thing up. It becomes a reservoir. And you can fill it up with water and then start adding compost to it and dirt and whatever. And you build it up over time. But the idea is that you've got this area down below that can hold water. And so if you put that water in there, it soaks into the logs and it helps keep the bed moist, right? And sometimes they say you only have to do that really once. Well, we have it so in our dome greenhouse. We have a hugel bed that goes around the inside of it, the whole inside. And so we have it so that the irrigation water we can direct it right into the underlayer of that bed. So it helps keep it reduces the above ground watering you have to do. So anyway, but we can do that because we have flood irrigation. So we just flood the dome. Well, it's a directed flow. We don't flood the dome. But we had a neighbor do that in 2017, and I lost all of my heirloom tomatoes. Never offered to pay for it, never even acknowledged it was their water, but they knew they did it, right? Yeah, they've moved away, so yay. Anyway, let's take a look at our enough of my personal life here. But irrigation is just one of those things, it just makes everybody crazy, I guess. I don't know. Especially if someone's stealing water, they're taking water that's not on their turn. We've got one guy that allegedly does that here, and it's just, and another guy's the one who always tattles on him, and it's just silly, and you don't have to do that, but yet they think they do. So anyway, those of you with flood irrigation know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, we start out with the 5 of Pentacles. I keep wanting to say pentagrams, pentacles. And you can see them arranged up in a stained glass window. It's wintertime, clearly. And these people are destitute. They're bandaged and bruised. It looks like the tall one doesn't have any shoes on, walking in the snow. One looks like he's just got a sock on. Let me see here. And one boot that's not in good shape. Yeah, he's wearing a sock, maybe even a bandage on his foot. I don't know. Certainly seems like he's got one on his head, maybe. Could be a hat. But he's on crutches, so he's been hurt, And it just seems like they're walking by and they don't realize that help is within there. The 5 is about protection. It's about freedom versus restriction. It's about creativity in the pentagram. All elements, including spirit and balance. But here with the 5 of Pentacles, you're talking about destitution, loss, adversity, pain, change in circumstances, but it's almost as if they don't know that help is inside, or perhaps help has closed its doors to them. And it's not recognizing that, hey, there's potentially a parishioner outside that needs help here. So it could be that as well. But then we have the Page of Cups, where we see the young man. Pages are youthful people. They're students. They're messengers. It can indicate the birth of a child. Depending on what cards it's usually associated with. Like if this was up next to the Empress, it might signal the birth, the new announcement of a birth or a pregnancy or something. Because this is the Suit of Cups, and so you're talking the emotions and compassion and empathy, movement, change. It's a water element. Whereas Pentacles is the earth element, so it's our material security with Pentacles and the earth element. But here you have the blues and oranges of the water element. And you see the water behind as well. But it's a that is then and this is now kind of experience, because you see the little line of demarcation right there. You see that double line? Now, the emotions are not flat because the water's not flat. So there's still some movement there with emotions. If you look at your biorhythm chart, you see a series of sine waves depending on, depicting intuition, physicality, intellect, emotion, all of that. And so you'll see them, they'll be all over it's like a graph that's got a bunch of sine waves all over it. Well, that's what emotions are, basically. They reflect the moon and the effect of the moon on our tides. When I tend to subscribe to the notion that they towed the moon here, and it's basically a space station. But what they did it for was to change the environment here on Earth, and whoever they are, and to change the environment, to give us seasons and to give us tides. It affects, and since we're, like however much percentage of water, it affects our emotions, right? It impacts our emotions. You see the moon change every 2 days, or every 2.5 days, or whatever it is. So you're going from an extrovert to an extrovert to an introvert. And it's not exactly at that extreme, but kind of. And so you see this type of wave every 2 days with the moon as well, depending on the sign that it's in. It's going to be up or it's going to be down. But here you see the page offering a chalice with a fish inside. It's like a card of Pisces, really, and our emotions. And so if you look at it in conjunction with the 5, then what he's saying is that you may think that help is not available to you. You may think that there's a change in circumstances that have severely and dramatically affected where you're living and your whole thing. Maybe you've lost your job. Help is on the way. If it's that you are ill and infirm, which this also signals, again, help is on the way. Emotional support, understanding for what your situation is, which then leads to something else. Now, we have an outlier here. We have the devil. The 15th card of the major arcana, it's a card of higher self. It's a card of as above, so below. But instead of like the magician where he's holding a scroll toward heaven, the lighted torch is lighting form, physical form. So again, kind of returning us to the pentacle, the earth element kind of experience and the ego. And here you have the devil sitting atop a perch there. There's a ring with chains attached, and each chain goes to the woman on the, let's see, it would be I don't know how you're looking at that. Anyway, here's the woman. Like left and right in a screen gets completely opposite, and I don't want to screw that. And here you've got the man. But the idea that the energy is going toward form, toward earth, and toward ego. Spirit would be up, and ego is down. So the light is on ego. And so will we be able to flow together in Laguz here today? Or is the material gain going to be just for yourself? Or is it shared with other people? Again, it's the decision that is made by those in charge. How much help are you going to get? How much assistance? How much understanding? Or maybe it's people that are there that can possibly help you. What are they going to understand about that? Are they going to choose to help you, or are they going to leave you all by yourself out in the cold? But so if we look at the devil as a significator, what's the effect of the ego on a situation like this? Are these people simply too proud to ask? So is the ego their problem, or is the ego the problem of the people inside that church? And I mean church in terms of authority, not necessarily a church, okay? Although it can be. Excuse me. Religiosity is a funny thing. It's one thing when you view your religion as your spiritual path. And it affects other people because of who you are and how you want to interact with them. Okay, if you're interacting, with the values and principles that your religion teaches you, you are embodying all of that. You're remaining, you're not judging other people, and you're just there to help them. You're there to help other people, right? That's one thing. But when your sense of religiosity shuts you off from people and decides that some people are worth helping and some people are not, or some people's voices are okay and some people's voices are not, now you bring us to today and what's happening in our at least our country anyway today. As the United States of America, the fundamental unity has been challenged from the get-go, and it comes down to how we see other people. And it just seems to me that there's such a connection between the judgment and some forms of religiosity, not religion, mind you, but religiosity. It's the ideology that stems from that takes and essentially perverts whatever the true message of love and peace and harmony and fellowship and understanding, and perverts it into something that embraces racism and sexism, the isms of life that serve to separate everybody. Again, it's the ego asking, how are we going to gain today? Are we going to gain by helping, by ignoring these people, or by giving them the impression that maybe they they're not welcome anyway, so they're not even going to ask, right? Or are we going to express compassion? Let's take one more card though. Are we going to express some compassion, in terms of our legacy? He's looking toward the past, the page is. So I interpret that as legacy, sometimes, depending, and the legacy of leaving these people out in the cold, of setting up this situation, that think that they have to go it alone. No, our fundamental reality, our fundamental truth is harmony. It's harmony in spirit. Why wouldn't it be here? It doesn't mean that there won't be friction at times to about one idea over another, but my goodness, not in terms of who we are to each other. And who we are to each other has become quite distorted, in my opinion. It's become an us versus them experience. And to me, the Five of Pentacles, unless this is just a misperception on the part of the people out in the cold, that's what this has always felt like to me. It's us versus them. We aren't going to see these people because they don't look like us. They don't have as much money as we do. They're destitute, so we don't want to help them. They're poor. We don't want to help them. They're someone of a different color or a different religion, so we see them as the other instead of the other side of self. But the page doesn't have any problem doing that, does he? He understands this. He expresses compassion and understanding and offering of help to these people. So his expression of ego is not the same as the devil. Now, maybe the expression of ego that brought them here is, but not here. This is spirit coming through. So let's take a look. I've already done some shuffling here. I'm going to take the 13th card. Well, okay, we have the Hermit. And so I'm going to put the Hermit right underneath. We have a 6 energy again. That's higher self. We have a 9 energy for the Hermit. So we're expanding that spiritual awareness atop the mountain here. We see the Merkaba lighting his lantern there. He's in alignment with spirit. He's getting above it all to see the bigger picture and to offer blessings of spirit to everyone and to get that level of understanding. In other words, to bring us to the place that we understand that we are each one's other side of self instead of the other. And that we don't have to be at odds with one another. You see the staff is almost in complete alignment there. It's almost fully up and down, straight up and down, just angled a little bit. But it could be slippery up there. You see the snow. But the Hermit is basically alignment in spirit. It's retreat. It's withdrawal. It's moving away from the chaos, and aligning solely in spirit, away from ego, so that you can get a better picture of things, so that you can then in turn flow together in harmony with one another, and take back the truth of who we are. And that represents then the acquisitio, the increase or the gain of understanding that we are not separate, but that we're one, and that each person is the other side of self. If everything we see is the creator, if the creator is all that is, okay, then everything we see is an expression of the creator's mindset. Creator wanted to see what tangible form would be like. It's not just floating around, you know. I view the creator as the great mother. And she decided to breathe out the universe, and we're resting in the great mother's breath, as they say. But, you know, some things can get distorted, though, when you come into form, and you forget. You forget that you actually are spirit. And it's like you have to, you know, work your way back. Well, no, all you have to do is know and remember. And start thinking along those lines, and a most profound shift of perception happens when you understand that this is what you are. It's difficult, especially when you have people in your life that are challenging, to want to see them as the other side of self. But I really think that that's what this is. You know, if you want to extrapolate this to the greater issue with the pandemic, you've got people that don't want to get the vaccine. But that's one thing. But to not want to wear masks around people, that's quite another. Because it basically telegraphs the notion that you don't care if they live or die. And if you're not thinking about it that way, you need to. You know, I know, you know, we're going to get our second shot on Wednesday. So I really encourage everybody to do that, so that we can get some kind of herd immunity going, so we can get back to normal. We have to get back to normal. And there are people that are resisting some of this by not wearing masks at minimum. And so we need to get everybody on the same page here as much as possible to achieve this. So life can indeed get back to normal for people, so we can see our loved ones, we can see them safely. We're not putting people at risk. So again, see the bigger picture. Use the information from the Hermit card to see the bigger picture. See it from the standpoint of spirit instead of the standpoint of the Devil card, which is ego, and being a slave to desire. How about being a slave to the greater consciousness? Do that. Just for this moment, and see how it feels. See what we can accomplish together. So, anyway, I guess that's it. How will you flow today? Anyway, thanks a lot. I hope you click subscribe here on the video channel, the YouTube channel, and come back. Come back on Thursday, especially because we want to build on this or turn a corner. We'll see. Most of the time we've been building on it, but sometimes we do. A couple of times we have turned a corner. So it's kind of cool just to see how all that flows throughout the week. So hang in there, and we'll talk again soon. Maybe I'll do a quick rune video, so just look for that. And if not, you know, be good to yourself, be good to one another. Thank you so much for coming by, and blessed be.